Alright, yeah, welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to go into the final event for the story for War of the Spark. It is Chapter 5, Gideon's Sacrifice, and it's going to be Ravnica Constructed for this one. So basically, we get to use Guilds of Ravnica, Ravnica Allegiance, and War of the Spark to build our deck. And that's just what we've done. So I figured I would go for a nice little flavor deck that's going to be a lot of fun and probably not going to be seen very much at all. Before I get into the deck, let's look at the winnings, shall we? For 3 wins, we've got Huatli the Sun's Heart, so a pretty well played high alert card. We got on 7 Ashiok as well, which is seeing play in a lot of mill decks, of course. And for 10, Sarkhan the Masterless, seeing some Jeskai Super Friends shenanigans. So we've actually got some decent walkers here that see some pretty good play, and I feel like they're quite nice stained glass darts, if I do say so myself. But anyway, let's get into a quick deck tech, and then we will follow up into the games. But as always, if you do enjoy this content, it helps out the channel a great deal if you hit that like button and subscribe as well for more content in the future. So, let's get into the deck, shall we? We're running a Critical Mass. So, for our flavor win of the day, we're actually going to be doing an Amass themed deck. So the idea is that we're going to build up a great Amass token. So whenever you amass, you put X counters on an army token you control, and if you don't, you make a 0/0. So we're basically going to be growing an Amass token. The main build around card is essentially Invade the City, 1 blue and a red, amass X, where X is the number of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. So this is going to be able to generate a big body for just 3 mana, and it's going to be based on the amount of cantripping we're essentially doing. So we're kind of going for a Drake-esque deck structure, you know, lots of cantrips to build up the size of our Drakes. Crackling Drake actually making an appearance here for that exact reason. So lots of cantrips and lots of removal, because we're actually in the Grixis colours to take advantage of Widespread Brutality. 1 black and double red for a sorcery speed, amass 2, and then the army you amass deals damage equal to its power to each non-army creature. So this is going to be our board wipe. As long as we're not coming up against the mirror, we're going to be able to deal with anything that our opponent has to offer for the most part. At the worst case scenario, it is a 4 mana deal 2 damage to each creature, which is not great, but it's also potentially there to clean up the board all the same. So yeah, we're going to be running a lot of cantrips in this deck. We've got Contentious Plan, which is 2 mana, proliferate and draw a card. Proliferate putting counters on Invade the City and Saheeli as well. We have Radical Idea as a bit of a one-of here. Chemist's Insights as a 3-of, draw 2 cards, and Jumpstart. Again, we can discard cards from our hand in order to draw more cards. So while it does get exiled and reduce on the Invade the City by doing that, Crackling Drake does actually benefit from it. 2 copies of Enter the God Eternals as a piece of removal. Deals 4 damage to a creature, and we gain 4 life, essentially. And then we get to mill either us or our opponent. I feel like we should probably be milling us, because we have Jumpstart cards, and of course, we care about the instants in our graveyard, so we'll be milling ourselves. And then we get to amass 4 as well, which can set up the Brutality for a 6 damage to every creature. That kind of thing is just enough to clean up the board. Other than that, though, our removal is Lava Coil, 2 mana for a 4 damage to a creature, and if it would die, get to exile it, so any graveyard shenanigans are getting out of the way. And Dispersal is also kind of a removal spell, but most of the time we're going to be using the Discovery here to just Surveil 2, putting some instants that we don't want into our graveyard, and then drawing a card. Commence the endgame, drawing 2 cards and amassing X, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Hopefully we're going to have a nice handful of cantrips and removal spells, so Commence the endgame could do about 6 for an amass token, but just being able to make a blocker that's not counterable and just, you know, drawing 2 cards is quite nice. I'm going to be running 2 copies of God Eternal Kefnet here as well, because we're so high on instants and sorceries. There's about a 50% chance that Kefnet actually gets to reveal the first card, and that card costs 2 less to cast. So the more expensive stuff like Commence the Endgame and Enter the God Eternals, we can use it twice when we draw it, as well as getting a cost reduction. So Enter the God Eternals in this particular case would cost 3 mana to deal 4 damage to a creature and gain 4. So really superb value. And because none of my decks are complete without some meme value, we're running Gravatic Punch as a bit of an alternative win con. 4 mana for a sorcery speed card. It says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target player. So we're going to be targeting our Amass token. Hopefully our Amass token is around a 10-10 or even a 20-20 if the game's been going on long enough. So we'll be able to deal 10 damage for 4 mana and then jumpstart it out of our graveyard to do it once again. So hopefully this card is going to be pretty sweet on its own. It's only a one-of, so if we don't see it, so be it. But if we do, then it's probably going to be set up to be pretty good. We can also mill it over with Enter the God Eternals or surveil it with Discovery, so we get to probably see it even if we end up milling it into our yard. Finally, we've got the Elder Spell as well, 2 mana, because I expect to see a fair bit of Super Friends since War of the Spark is very much focused on them. So destroy any number of Planeswalkers, and then you get to put 2 loyalty counters on a Planeswalker. We've only got Saheeli, who triggers off of non-creature spells and doesn't really have an ult. However, a -2 can target a Servo and then target Crackling Drake for some pretty disgusting value. But that's the only time you're really going to be minusing Saheeli. We're really only here for her passive ability. So without further ado, let's get into the games, and I'll see you there. Okay, we've got a blue-black hand, which is not ideal, but Saheeli is castable, and, I mean, Kefnet probably is as well, so just drawing red mana with this hand is what we want from it. But, yeah, we can keep this hand. I don't disagree with it. Alright, Watery Grave go, and Dimir Guildgate for our opponent. And then we got the red mana as well, which is very nice here. I'm not inclined to actually show them the red mana yet, because it doesn't serve me any purpose. So let's just play the island and pass. Leave them thinking we're blue-black for as long as we possibly can. And there's Widespread Brutality. So if we wanted that on turn 4, I would have to play the mountain here and hope that I got my other red source. But honestly, I don't think this is the kind of matchup where it's going to matter. So again, I'm just going to hold off information and just keep making my opponent think we're blue-black artifacts. Hopefully it's not very obvious at this point, but got to imagine that it is. Alright, opponent goes with Disinformation Campaign. So we're probably a blue-black discard list. I think I'm going to go with the discarding Widespread Brutality now. And just get down Kefnet. Opponent's going to need to answer this, and then it'll go back into my deck. As long as they don't have any, like, mill, Ashiok related things, then Kefnet's going to be here to stay. And hopefully going to trigger multiple times as well, off of the top of our deck. Opponent island into Kefnet of their own, and first off we hit a land, so unfortunate there. But we can decline that, and I'm going to swing in with my Kefnet. It puts Saheeli to 1 if they don't block, but this way I get to put Kefnet to 1 and coil it back into their deck. Also making a token while we do it as well. So they get to decide whether they want it third from the top. And we've bought ourselves a little bit of time. Our opponent isn't revealing like Thought Erasures for double impact spells or anything like that off the top anymore, so pretty decent. Opponent appears to be going straight for the pass, which is very odd, and we are actually just hitting the worst cards of all time, which is not fantastic. I think it goes without saying. So let's just swing in. Getting dispersaled on our Kefnet. Okay, well, let's get rid of... Might as well get rid of the Blood Crypt. I don't want to be shocking that in. And yeah, we'll just keep the mountain in hand for discard anyway. Kefnet on the top for our opponent. If they've got a Discovery... Oh! Another Kefnet. That's quite odd, to be honest. Because if they have one in their hand, which they clearly did, there's no reason to put the second one on the top. So we've got a Discovery Dispersal, which we can absolutely reveal. I'm just deciding whether or not I want to Dispersal Kefnet away, which I think I do. Because it's just going to put more in their hand, and we could Dispersal it later if we want. I also kind of want to be using Discovery, though, just to draw extra cards and really get this one out of hand. I think for now, though, we'll use this one for Dispersal. So, opponent bounces the Kefnet and then has to discard a card, allowing us to get in for 5 damage here as well, which is quite nice. I imagine they've got a... Oh, they've discarded the Kefnet. Cool. Awesome. That's fine by me. Alright, that's one dealt with. We could do the same with the other Dispersal, but somehow I highly doubt that it's actually going to get much of a relevant actual hit, because they'll just drop anything else. Ooh, Elder Spell. We could have Liliana on the top end, but that's probably about it. And they had the opportunity to play it last turn and they didn't, so I'm going to put the Elder Spell in the graveyard. I might end up regretting that. But an Invade the City is pretty decent. Going to be able to make a 4/4, and then the next one can make a 5/5. I think the best draw for us is probably something like Crackling Drake, so we can copy it using Saheeli on the servo tokens. There's Kefnet. And we got a contentious plan, which we're going to reveal. Kefnet doing work finally after we got out of that land pocket. And yep, we will stick a counter on Saheeli, why not? And I guess we could do both contentious plan and invade the city. It doesn't actually matter which order we do it in, because we get a 4/4 for the first invade, and then we contentious plan it to a 5/5, or we contentious plan it, and it becomes a 5/5 when it enters anyway, so either way, we're not really getting any additional value off of that, so let's fire it off, I guess. Let's go contentious plan first, because it could actually inform our decision. And actually, we don't have the extra blue there, do we? Yeah, I got ahead of myself there a little bit, I think. Okay. Getting around the Kefnet to hit for 4. And opponent's going to need a sweeper soon. Otherwise these servo tokens are really going to get out of hand. They've got the Discovery Dispersal, so they can make me discard my Kefnet probably. We're going to get rid of the Steam Vents first, forcing them to have a Thought Erasure. They've just got a Narset. Alright. That stops our card draw, which is very annoying. It is something we can deal with, though. They've got a Thought Erasure, but they can't cast it right now. And just coming at face. Alright, no respect for the Saheeli there. That would have been lovely to hit off of Kefnet. Wasn't meant to be. Alright, yep, let's go with the Kefnet, get it back down, and then we can Discovery again. I'm going to send 3 points at Narset and 2 at my opponent's face. As much as I want to pressure my opponent's life total, I also kind of want the Discovery here, which I'm just not going to get otherwise. So we get to Surveil 2 and actually get to draw a card. Lava Coil. It forces my opponent to lose their Kefnet on a block, so I don't actually hate it. Yeah, if they block with their Kefnet, even a servo token is enough to present lethal at that point. But they're going to be going with the Thought Erasure. The problem for them is that we have these Invade the Cities now, which are going to make some 6/6s. And of course, the servo token's really providing too much pressure to my opponent. They have the Ritual of Soot to reset the board somewhat. And then all they now have... Oh, wow. Okay. So we get a reveal off of Chemisters. Again, Kefnet is just doing some serious work here. Land and a spare Saheeli. We don't really need the spare Saheeli, and my opponent's not pressuring us in that regard. We could do a Brutality, which kills Thief of Sanity. Doesn't leave us with much else, though. I guess what I could do is if I swing with Kefnet and they block on their Kefnet, the Brutality actually kills both of their creatures, which is disgustingly good. So, yeah, let's do it. We're going to lose our Kefnet, but it'll get shuffled back in and we can reuse it. I think it's just worth the time. Maybe. Maybe not. That's a tough call, actually. Because I could do Lava Coil and Invade the City instead. It's protected from Dispersal. Thought Erasure's not a problem. Yeah, maybe I actually just do this instead. Keeping the Kefnet in play is actually really valuable. And now we get a 7/7 and another 1/1 from Saheeli. So a metric ton of threats here. With an ability to just refill as well. So Dispersal, again, bouncing the Kefnet, will discard Saheeli here. And now they can Thought Erasure away a Kefnet, but the damage is done. The damage is really done at this point. I can actually go with the Widespread Brutality, which is presenting lethal. My opponent not really noticing that. Widespread Brutality amassing 9 on our token, so dealing with the Kefnet and swinging for lethal does not matter that we lose our tokens, which is always the case for this deck. So yeah, let's go up to a 9/9, clear the way, and that's the game. Whoop whoop. Game 1 down. Alright, so far so great. Let's go for another game. Alrighty then, we have a 3-lander, which is decent. Discovery on turn 2, and hopefully we have... Yeah, we do actually have Saheeli on 3 into Kefnet on 4. Elder Spell against potential Super Friends matchups, not too bad. You can always discard it with Jumpstart cards later on if it doesn't end up being relevant. So yeah, this seems perfectly keepable to me. Alright, we're going to keep. Our opponent's gone down to 5. Alright. And keeping one on top. So an unfortunate start for our opponent, but a fortunate one for us. They've got a Watery Grave, which usually indicates our opponent is net decking. It's going to be Grixis with a Guildgate. Alright. Okay, so let's go with the Discovery Dispersal here. Elder Spell looking pretty good since our opponent is likely to be running Bolus of all things. Now, I don't really want this Kefnet, but if they've got a turn 2 or a turn 3 Thought Erasure here, it's going to really suck if they take that from us. We do have a Saheeli though instead, so I'm going to bottom the Kefnet and the land, I think. And just hope that our opponent does not disrupt our hand by turn 4. There's an island, and... Narcomoeba! That's a thing, alright, I guess. Okay, well... We still need the double blue. It's actually a thing that I didn't realise we were struggling to find. Which is really awkward, because we've got enough lands here to not really want more. But, here we are. Right, let's go with... I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's just do Swamp, play Saheeli. Got to make sure that any non-creature spells we get off the top have got a use.
Great things, you and I.
But opponent could just have Bedevils and things like that. Drown Secrets, so this is actually going to be the Dredge deck. Very interesting choice for our opponent. Maximize altitude and a mission briefing into the yard.
Enough.
That's not double blue, unfortunately. So let's just do the Gleaming Overseer, Hexproof and Menace for our zombie token, and just play Blood Crypt tapped. Not great. I wasn't hoping to lose Saheeli to a Narcomoeba, but here we are. Looks like it's happening. And a Jace to continue the self-mill. Hits 2 lands with Drown Secrets, very good for us.
We can figure a way out of this.
And we'll tick up on themselves, presumably. The idea is that you hit Creeping Chills and Narcomoebas, and that's basically the brunt of your damage. There's our blue. So now we get ourselves a Kefnet, which we can use to block the Narcomoeba. I'm going to go after Jace. And our opponent, yeah, just with the chump blocks there to keep Jace alive. I need to keep creatures off the board, essentially, so... There we go. Right, all spells from this point forward, please. Non-creature spells specifically, I guess. Although a Crackling Drake, I suppose, wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, initially. It's only going to be a 1/4, though, is the problem. So if we're using Enter the God Eternals at all, we want to be milling ourselves, which is useful, because sometimes, you know, when you're playing Enter the God Eternals, you want to mill your opponent, because you have the chance to just hit some good cards from them. It's just kind of leveraging RNG in your favour. In our particular case, though, we want to be doing it on ourselves because we have Invade the City, which cares about instants and sorceries in our graveyard. Maximize altitude on our Gleaming Overseer. Okay, mills them. There's just a Shimmer possibility, I think. Oh, they've got Arclight Phoenixes in there now. And an Archamoeba to mill some more. Another Archamoeba. Now they're starting to hit quite well. What we really want, I guess, is Widespread Brutality at this point. And we hit Gleaming Overseer, unfortunately. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's also not great at all. It might be time to start hitting Jace with the Elder Spell. Probably not got a better opportunity to do this, so yeah, let's just kill Jace. Make a token and send Saheeli up to 5 loyalty. Our opponents had enough. They don't have enough power in hand to get those Arclight Phoenixes out of their graveyard. And yep, that's going to be game for us. Okay, we've got all 3 of our colours on 2 lands. Contentious Plan to draw. And yeah, I think this is a decent enough hand. I'm not too happy about seeing Invade the City and Gravatic Punch at this point, of course, but, you know, I'm sure we'll draw quite nicely nonetheless. We want to make our land drops all the way up until Kefnet, so we need another blue source from our lands as well. But, obviously, decent enough chance of drawing them. Opponent with the Arboreal Grazer. Simic. Okay. Well, we got our Watery Grave, which is quite nice. We can play that on turn 3, because I'm not going to be using Invade the City at all. And yeah, just use the Contentious Plan to get a redraw. It's Crackling Drake, not too bad there either. So now we need a red source to play that one, but we've got Kefnet. Incubation Druid. So this is kind of the Simic ramp deck that's kind of tier at the moment. Can make, what, a 1/1? Yeah, we're just not going to do that. Tap land and go. Our opponent's got all the mana in the world. If we see a Nissa from our opponent, it's probably fair to say it's going to be GG's. Yeah.
I protect that which cannot protect itself.
Bit of a slow start from us. If we had more removal, killing the Incubation Druid would have slowed things down, and we just don't even hit our land drop here, so this game was destined to fail, unfortunately. Our only saving option is Elder Spell on Nissa before it ults, but I imagine they're running 4 of Nissas, so it's only a matter of time until they've got the next one. And what are they ramping out into here? Could be any number of horrendous things. Kamal's Druidic Vow is one of them that comes to mind.
The land fights for us.
But it's going to be an X spell of some sort. Finale of Devastation, the green one, is also an option. Hydroid Crisis, oh yeah, of course. That is the tier list choice. And yeah, I think I'm just going to scoop it up. We draw our land, so we can only play Kefnet, but it's just simply not good enough, so next game. Okay, a 4-lander with card draw and an Amass generator. I'm gonna take this, but it really relies on us not drawing more lands for quite some time. So let's go with the Watery Grave. Make our opponent think, ooh, we could be Esper control. And I don't think I have any reason to play Radical Idea right now, so I'm just gonna play my shock lands while I have them. So the one downside of Ravnica Constructed, we don't actually have any check lands, so any duels are either constantly tapped. Ooh, Persistent Petitioners is good and bad for us, actually. Let's just do Steam Vents tapped. And I wonder if we actually go for the Radical Idea here. Next time we're going to go with Kefnet. I guess we do want to do that. If we find, like, Lava Coil, taking down some Petitioners is never a bad thing. So digging through the deck as quickly as possible is good for us. But yeah, what we really want is pressure to push right past these Petitioners before they get too many of them. They need, how many? 4, I believe. Yes, 4 for 12 cards. So let's get down Island, play Kefnet. Next turn we can enter the God Eternals if we don't hit anything off the top. that we'd rather cast. Otherwise, I'll probably end up casting whatever it is. Petitioners. It's like Lava Coil off the top would be disgustingly good here for us. They look like they missed their land drop as well, so unable to get the 4th Petitioner down like they'd hoped. Oh, it's so close to being good. No, it is bad at the moment. I need to be able to have an Amass token first, so I'm going to decline that. Because I could copy it and pay it for 3, which would be okay if I could cast the second half of it. But even if I could cast the second half of it, that would also kill my Kefnet, which I don't really want if I can help it. So, I mean, it looks like I'm not really going to get a choice, to be honest, about killing my Kefnet. But I'm going to enter the God Eternals here. Hopefully our opponent... I'm probably going to mill my opponent here. The reason for that is my opponent's trying to mill me, so I don't really want to help them in that. They're going to do all of the work for me anyway. Yeah, so now I have a board clear with the Widespread Brutality, putting my Amass token up to a 6/6, Gleaming Overseer giving it Menace, so eventually forcing them to double block on my creature token in order to stay alive here. Opponent not splashing any other colours, so short of dispersals, not got anything to worry about. And our opponent now has the ability to tap all 4 to mill 12 cards, which isn't too bad, considering we're going to clean up and our opponent will just lose on the spot. Hit a Gleaming Overseer. Not too bad. Alright, yeah, so I guess I just go with the Brutality then. Sure. Let's go Widespread Brutality. They might be able to line it up in just a way to make sure that Kefnet never comes back, but I'm going to force them to make that play. So they can't mill for 12 after this one unless they've got 4 Petitioners in play, which is going to take them at least 2 turns. Opponent didn't cash in response, which is very interestingly bad. And yeah, I think they just realised the writing's on the wall, they're not coming back from this. We've got a big token, and it's going to have Menace, forcing double blocks, and they just can't clean up. They basically need the ability to bounce my token, and we can just rebuild. Our opponent putting instants and sorceries into our graveyard. It's just a really good matchup for us. I think that's probably going to do it for today's video, guys. We did a pretty decent result with this one, actually, and it was a lot of fun to play. So if you enjoyed this one, make sure to build it yourself. The link to the deck list is down in the description below. Other than that, guys, it really helps out the channel a great deal if you hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. If you have any suggestions for some more decks that you'd like to see in this format, leave them down in the comments section below, and I might get back to building them myself. But other than that, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.